What makes a better shot of espresso? $300 or $10? This taste test will have two phases. The first will be tasting a pure shot of espresso from both machines with a controlled teaspoon of sugar added to each.
Phase 2 will feature each competitor in the form of a macchiato. This will determine if the addition of milk and foam changes how the espresso tastes.
This is the favorite in this competition. And with espresso makers, you get what you pay for. If you go to Walmart and you see one for $30, don't buy it, because it's not going to produce what you're wanting.
This is a stovetop espresso maker that uses a gas or electric range to essentially percolate a shot of espresso for you. Off-brand versions of this espresso maker can be found for as low as $6 to $10 at your average cookie store.
A typical coffee brewing process uses a filter, grounds are in it, hot water pours through, you end up with coffee on the bottom. This particular device kind of is the opposite. Your hot water is in the bottom, espresso grounds are packed into this little container here, and as the water heats, it flows up through this little tube here and out these holes, and eventually will fill this upper basin with your espresso.
We actually don't know if that's how it works, but it seems logical. It's actually really not logical. We don't get it. So if any of you do or choose to Google it, let us know.
So here's how that liquid is coming up from the bottom to the top and filling this basin. It's magic. Very, very smooth. There's little to no bite to it. It tastes almost chocolatey. The aftertaste doesn't really burn, and it's not very acidic, which contributes a lot to the smoothness. Good enough to drink by itself.
Oh, hello! Well, due to unforeseen technical difficulties, my in-depth analysis on the espresso machine macchiato has been lost. But what I do recall is that it was quite nutty and had a hint of cocoa. It was quite smooth, just as Joel had mentioned.
It's far more like a regular coffee. It's kind of exactly like a regular coffee. If it's a difference of $300, this tastes pretty darn good.
Alright, this tastes a lot more like regular coffee. We probably could have done it differently just by adding a little bit less water to make it more concentrated in flavor, but it's still pretty smooth, just not as vibrant of a flavor as the regular espresso machine gives you.
Okay, can you choose which one you like better?
Yes, probably the actual espresso machine. Because I taste it with milk and I like it with milk, the espresso flavor cuts through that milk a little bit more than I think the Violetti does. But if just for drinking a small amount of strong coffee, the Violetti works great.
I too am going to have to choose the espresso machine as opposed to the Violetti. The initial investment is totally worth it. I think the quality and the thickness of the espresso that it makes does taste better. You can do more with it, with cappuccinos, with lattes, with all kinds of things. This is more of a one-trick pony, and it does make slightly weaker of a flavor overall. Also, I still don't understand it. I don't know how the water comes up through the tube. It might be the bubbling, where the bubbles come up and fall out the hole. It might be steam that pushes it out. Either way, water just goes up a tube against the laws of physics and gravity, and it ends up here. And I don't like what I don't understand, so I don't like it.
Depending on your espresso machine, after about 15 to 30 seconds, your shots can die a horrible death and taste nasty and bitter and not smooth at all. To prevent this, as soon as your shot is poured, add a little bit of sugar or milk or whatever you choose to hold that shot to its tasty goodness.
Woo, it's about ready though. Whoa.